And we are wrestling with WWE Survivor Series review. It took place last Saturday, and needless to say, it was another WWE PLE that just hit right. Which one hasn't at this point? Um, I don't know. It was just I enjoyed the event. Even though it was the War Games match rather than the traditional 5-on-5 matches. I enjoyed the show, top to bottom. What say you, Kaliko?
Honestly, broke up the monotony of that 5-on-5 match and actually put like stories in it. And I'm here. As you can hear, I'm here.
Well, it took place, like I said, on November 26th, in Boston, Massachusetts, TD Garden. 15,609. That number is disputed as of this recording. Um, and let's get into it. Team Belair, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Michigan Mia Yim Yim, and Becky Lynch defeated Damage Control.
Mention me again. Not Michigan. You got me thinking Michigan is Michigan. You
It's Michigan, yeah. Uh,
or okay. Alright, Michigan. Yeah.
on the other side, we got Damage Control, uh, Io Sky, and on that farm we had Dakota Kai, Io Sky, with a ding dong there, Bailey's there, everywhere, Rhea Ripley's here, Nikki Cross is there. They lost in 39 minutes and 40 seconds. What did you think of the first four games to open this PLE? I thought it was solid. Um, Nothing crazy happened, but still good.
It was solid. A lot of stutter steps, but it's expected when you kind of put because really the War Games match was for Damage Control, Belair, Asuka, and Bliss, right? They just threw the other two in there just cause. I mean, you could have made an argument for Becky Lynch to be in there, but then it would be a handicap match. So it kind of like, hey, let's put these other two people in here that's got nothing to do with the feud, which kind of made it seem like this, right?
Well, I mean, it kind of plays into the rivalry with the Bullet Club and Judgment Day because Yim and Rhea. So I mean, I could understand. Okay, they're finishing their feud in the biggest way possible. But yeah, Becky and Cross were just thrown in there.
Yeah. And that's where I was going because I think I had Damage Control winning, uh, which I was wrong, but all in all, it was a good match.
You think it's already time to pull the plug on Damage Control?
Well, that's the thing because Bailey's basically the halo for Damage Control. So no one's really gonna say Bailey's finished or Bailey's not over. So that's where it saves her. Unlike Judgment Day, there's no Teflon person, right?
Yeah, but I mean, they haven't made the maybe the impact that they could have been. They could have had. It just seems like they're just taking L's to take L's at this point, rather than being, a destructive force that runs the women's division.
Well, the point was never for them to run. I can make the argument it was never meant to run a women's division as so much to be a nuisance. Because you see what happens when you have a faction run the whole men's division.
Cool. Alright, how many stars do you give this one?
I'd give it 4 because of the story and Becky being back.
I give it 3.5, just because I don't really feel like there was anything super memorable about it. I mean, it was a good match, but nothing's going to make me say, okay, I'm going to back to watch this match because of dot dot dot. And that's basically the reason for the half a star. Alright. AJ Styles defeated Finn Balor in 18 minutes and 25 seconds. When you have Finn Balor and AJ Styles in a match, how could it be a bad match? And it wasn't. It was everything you probably could expect and more. Um, just an incredible match. What are your thoughts, Kaliko?
Yeah, I agree. Because of the fact that, they never really fought each other a lot. So that was one. Plus, this is, you know, two Bullet Club guys, which is what the marks are thinking. So it was good chemistry, great match. Uh, AJ won, of course. And that's all you can say about it. It was a solid match. A solid match.
Alright, how many stars you give this one?
A solid 4.
I give it 4.5 because I just liked it.
Hey, good knock it.
Alright, Ronda Rousey defeated Shotzi by submission to retain the SmackDown Women's
Next,
Championship.
next, next, next. No diss to Shanti. She's the best, love her, but I mean, they didn't give her the fighting chance. I mean, they gave her the fighting chance, but really, like, really.
True, but I mean, if this went any longer, it would have been a clusterfuck of what the fuck. I
That's what
felt
I'm saying. It was like cuss last thing. That's what it was.
right. I mean, I feel like they kind of hit the sweet spot with Ronda, where they know that she's not capable of going over 5 minutes, essentially. So they keep it short. They know what she can do, and they exploit it. And I think that obviously it's not a memorable match, but it wasn't necessarily a bad match, and it could have been a whole lot worse if they tried to do something stupid with her. No,
But you also got to think about it. Like this is what really year. I want to say year 2 Rousey, right? 'Cause
right.
we keep forgetting. Like she's been in 3 years, but she's really only wrestled 2. And how much experience do you expect to gain in 2 years? You see what I'm saying? So I try to give Rhonda that grace because it's not like it's not like she was in the Indies, came in and she's just all bad. She came in straight from out. I mean, you can make an argument she came from the street and just like started wrestling, right? So
More or less.
so that's why I give her the grace. So everybody can say she's horrible. I'm like, dude, it's only been 2 years. It's not like a Charlotte or you know what I mean, where they
Right.
have the extensive training.
I mean, she's not. Nobody is Charlotte. So yeah. Um, Interesting side note here. Brian Kendrick was brought in as a producer specifically for this match, by request of Ronda Rousey herself. Um, is that a smart move by Ronda to have the guy that trains you know what you're capable of doing, what produce your match? And should WWE essentially keep him in that role, or because this was a one-time thing, it was a one-off at this point. Um,
I mean, it was a one-off, but I mean, I, at least it was. I mean, Brian Kendrick's a smart brain, so why wouldn't they? Right? Like, now the
yeah,
question is, could it be repetitive? That I don't think so, because eventually Ronda's going to be going against people who can actually lead in the ring, right?
right.
I mean, that would be good if she was going against a Shotzi. Who else? I mean,
Liv, Tegan,
mm, Liv, borderline, Tegan, not really. But, like a Natalia is going to be a general. A Natalia's a general. Emma is a damn general. A goddamn, so, I could think of 10 other women who are generals. I could see it if it was against, like, what's her name? Not Naomi, but the other one.
Camus.
Yes.
Camus not even there.
You say, I'm just naming tiers of women
Right.
that would need that assistance. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're there, but what I'm saying is that's the caliber of women or experience that you would expect from,
Right.
to have people like that.
Right. Uh, the fourth match in on the actually, how many stars you give Ronda and Shotzi?
Really? Are we gonna star this?
We'll start it.
Two.
I give it 2.5, simply because they knew what they had and they took advantage of it, which isn't a bad
Half
thing.
a star for half a star for knowing the assignment.
All right, Dreep, 3 stars.
Jesus, you're gonna give him half. Don't give him half credit. Give him the whole damn thing.
All right, fine, 3 stars, 3 stars. All right. Austin Theory defeated Seth freaking Rollins and Bobby Lashley in 14 minutes and 50 seconds to become your new United States champion. And you even texted me after the match. I called this, which you did.
Uh, Shall I gloat?
Take your gloat. It's fine.
All right. All right. So, what James and Scooter failed to mention is anytime people do a new transformation, the only way you can actually take people the new transformation is if they do something, i.e., memorable in your eyes to make you either A, love them or make you B, hate them. And what better way than they already infuriate and put a gasoline fire on top of the flames of hate for Austin Theory than having him beat not only Bobby Lashley, who was at one point the WWE champion, but Seth frickin' Rollins, who is basically like WWE's cult favorite icon. That was why I said Theory should have been the winner, because that, even though the match itself, was it the 5 star? No. But the moment of Austin Theory beating Seth Rollins pisses more people off than anything else I could think of.
Well, I mean, it was
That
close.
was why.
I mean,
That was why.
it was close to a 5 star match. I mean, whenever you have Seth Rollins and even Bobby Lashley at this night, or in a
I mean,
match.
Lashley's at this point. He's capable. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe 2, 3 years ago, no, now yes, but
Yeah.
it was a great match. These guys tore the house down. Maybe the second best match of the night. Uh,
Yes,
and yeah,
easily the second best match of the night.
I can't see a bad thing about it. Obviously, other than Theory actually winning.
I told you it because it's about the perception. Because here's the thing: if Theory went through all of that, like physical, because it's the psychological change, right?
Right,
This isn't him going from face to heel and then losing and like trying to figure out what he should do. This was him going from a chicken shit heel to a very serious heel. And when Bobby Lashley came out and he didn't run, that's when I was like, oh yeah, he's dead ass serious. Because the old Austin Theory would have ran, and even in him losing at the match at SummerSlam to Bobby Lashley, might I add, I always had the nuggets like, damn, this dude could literally like he could actually go. He could actually like be serious if given the chance. And sure as shit, he got the psychological change and got the chance. And now it's paid off. So now people are more invested in watching him lose because they beat his favorite. Does that make sense?
right.
That's where the psychology is. The psychology is not in the sense of, you know, not even him. Yeah, they're pissed. They're pissed he won the match. They're pissed. They're even more pissed he beat Seth Rollins.
Yes. And it was
So
essentially
that's
on like a whim slash fluke scenario.
right. Which I mean, and Seth said it himself. You can't get mad at that because he took advantage. It's just that I think they underestimated Theory. Both of them underestimated Theory.
Speaking of Seth Rollins, what did you think about that lingerie he wore on Raw?
It's he's the
You can't say that was a suit.
I I you know I guess he's the type of guy who could get away with it because he's the guy who how can I put it?
I think I
People
have you
he's
speechless.
he no, he's the cultish guy, right? He's the guy that no matter what happens or what he does, people are gonna follow it, right? I mean, granted, he stole that from Nikki Bella, but I mean, straight stole. But I mean, he's at that point in his character where he dresses to psychologically fuck the opponent before the match even starts. Does it make sense?
Okay,
Like he kind of does that shit to get under the skin. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like when he was fucking with Cody, he came out with the Dusty outfit. When he was wrestling Roman, he literally put on the Shield outfit. When he had, you know what I'm saying? So to me, it's not out of the character. You see what I'm saying?
So was he trying to seduce Theory on Raw? Seduce him and giving him another title match?
Who knows? Who fucking knows? Maybe Theory had a one night stand with a girl in that outfit, and I, I, I couldn't tell you for shit. But I just know that that's usually like his thing. He's the quote unquote drip god, and I don't know about that, but no
well,
one's gonna really question him about it because he's Seth Rollins.
well, he may have stolen the outfit from Nikki Bella, but who wore it better?
Obviously, Bella. Shit. Duh.
Speak for yourself.
Okay.
Alright, next match, the Bloodline, Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, Solo Sikoa, and the Usos, Jay and Jimmy, defeated the Brawling Brutes, Sheamus, Rich Holland, Butch, and Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens in a War Games match in 38 minutes and 30 seconds. Kind of stuff. It seemed like the men were, but actually no, it was roughly the same amount of time, give or take 2 minutes. Um, Honestly, it was a good match. It told a story that they needed to tell, and obviously the bloodline isn't going anywhere right this second. Um, what are your thoughts on the match?
I was wrong. The
You
traitor
could
is
be
not
wrong.
Jay. The traitor is not gonna be Jay. It's gonna be fucking Solo. Fucking Solo.
You think
It's
Solo
Solo.
would? You think a guy named Solo would betray his family?
Yeah, well, the fun thing is, it was crazy because it threw me off. Like when everyone threw up the ones, he didn't throw the one up. Then on Raw, they tried to do the hug, and he was just about the hug, and Kevin Owens came out. It's fucking Solo. I was done. I should have saw it coming.
I mean, isn't that saying that's the betrayal?
I mean, it's him. He's the guy.
Well,
And,
before
and you know, and it makes sense because it's like out of everybody else, you have an explanation of why they are there. You really don't have it with Solo.
you're not entirely wrong. The fact they said that the family sent him to help Roman, and that was
Yeah,
it.
yeah. The rest of them you get.
Really quick before we continue with this, Gary Rollins and Lashley, how many stars do you give that one?
Five, easy, five,
I give it four.
five. Because I was right. I give myself credit.
Okay. Uh, so I mean, again, it was a good match. It's telling us it, but it kind of feels like they were telling more of the story of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens that are obviously going to wrestle the Usos at WrestleMania, rather than the story of Roman doing literally anything. Is that maybe a mistake on WWE's part to, obviously your champion has to do something, and he was maybe not the vocal point of this match. How do you feel about that?
I think it is the point of the the beginning of the downfall of every great king. Because every great king thinks that it should just be autopilot just because, right? Like no one really. It's because it's me and I'm the man and I'm the champion and it should be this way and it's kind of like a royalty thing. And once that royalty ain't royaling, that's when it starts to downfall. Right now, he's not going to be the focal point because now it's about building up the story of who's going to betray him. Because right now, he's just the overlord, right? But eventually, the overlord's going to come down and he's got to get struck. But the point of getting struck is not to see it coming. And right now, he's so on cruise control that do you really think he sees it coming?
I mean, it doesn't seem like he feels Sami Zayn is going to betray him, or if he does, it's going to be, you know, it's more expected than not expected. I would think anyway.
But do you think Roman sees him as a threat or more as his jester?
More of his gesture for sure.
Exactly.
But I
And
mean,
he doesn't even and the reason I think it's Solo because he's just thinking, oh, that's just family. They just gonna fall in line. Granted, Jimmy and Jay had no choice in the matter because they got whooped into it. Solo really didn't get whooped into anything. So that's why I was like, okay, Sammy wants to be there, so he wouldn't do it. Jimmy and Jay kind of got forced by hand to be there, but they fell in line eventually. Solo's like, yeah, I haven't spoken to him in years. Other than like, and they planned it the season it would be Jay. But I mean, Jay could be the catalyst, but I think Solo might be it. Solo has to be it. Which by Solo being the guy, it puts Sammy in a bind, right? Because Sammy and Solo are kind of tight,
right,
or as it seems to fit, right?
right.
So it wouldn't be the brothers because the brothers are brothers in a sense.
So the brothers are brothers in a sense.
Yes. The brothers are brothers, so I think they're twins. One's not gonna do without the other. Even
Yeah,
because even when Jimmy was like, "Fuck that," Jay eventually told him to come on home. Right?
right.
Solo doesn't really. I mean, yeah, I think they're brothers. Yeah, they're all brothers, but Solo doesn't have
He's not
that
a twin,
connection to Roman like they do.
and he's not a twin.
Yeah, and he's not a twin.
And I could make the argument Solo could see himself, he's next to the castle, he's next to the king, why can't I take the crown?
Especially considering everyone's got gold except him.
Very true. Well, Sammy doesn't have gold.
I'm talking. Yeah, I mean, as far as the family, not. I mean,
Could it be, could maybe Sammy be the one that orchestrates to Solo? Hey, you don't, you don't have gold. Roman, you're right next to Roman. You could take what you want, essentially. He is called the master strategist.
but so something's got to happen for Sammy because I guess the rumor is Sammy's supposed to team with Owens to beat the Usos because somebody's got to beat the Usos. So the question is, what would be the catalyst for Sammy to leave?
The titles. I could
The
make the
time? No,
argument.
no.
I could make the argument that this was the plan for Sammy from day one, was to betray them. He was just
I,
playing the
I,
long game.
I, uh, why would he betray the titles when he's closer to the titles now than he's ever been? He's closer to that championship now being the jester than he ever was as a competitor.
True, but
So
he's not getting Roman.
yeah, he ain't gonna get ain't nobody getting Roman. God, at this
But
point, I
he
don't know
could
who the fuck's going.
maybe orchestrate Solo into getting the title from Roman and then say, I got first shot when you beat Roman. That's an option.
But I wouldn't think he would do something that deep. That's too deep. I think it would be. I think it would be solo getting solo lead because at this point he's kind of like fuck it, and Sammy being forced to choose unless Sammy gets kicked out by Roman unexpectedly, causing Solo to be pissed.
Yeah.
That's a possibility.
What would you? How would you rate them? What were your thoughts on the match itself? Because it was honestly nothing, out of the usual. It just told the story of Sammy and Owens more than anything.
I think the story, the bloodline is perfect in its sense. So the telling of the story, eventually them coming cohesive. I think this is the strongest for me before the break.
Hmm. Right. Um, how many stars would you give this one?
Uh, four. I give it 4.5 just because of the fact that it was more about the bloodline so much than it was about the other side.
Yeah, I give it four. Just solid match, good story, definitely investable. Just not with what you thought you was investing in.
Well, you kind of knew what you were investing in. It was just a sense of because the story. You know what was crazy? The story going into the match wasn't even about the War Games match more than it was about is Sammy or Jay gonna betray the group.
Right, but I mean, I felt like we would have gotten some type of, you know, challenger for Roman out of this, or something
I
that.
don't,
I mean, he's your world champion, and he was kind of in the background for this.
well, the only way you would have a definitive challenger is if you had him actually get pinned, right? New Japan style, right? I pinned you, therefore I should be the challenger.
Not
But I
necessarily,
don't,
but so.
I don't expect that to happen until Mania season
Well, he has to
because
be in
because
the. He
because
has to.
at this point, do you think he's gonna? He's not losing that belt anytime soon. I mean, the next match isn't until the Royal Rumble, and that's where they got the issue on their hands because it's like, okay, are you splitting this thing up, or are we gonna? You just gonna split the belts up, or are we gonna just
Right.
keep this thing moving?
I think that's the only issue that they have right now is who is gonna wrestle Roman at Rumble, and whether or not The Rock is gonna be the challenger at Mania, because they said nothing is set in stone. Um, in that regards, and obviously that's correct because The Rock is The Rock, and he has other things that he has to do, and obviously Cody's an option for Mania. At this point, I don't think Bray is an option. I wouldn't put Bray in there with Roman. It would just fall flat on its face. Um,
True.
so I mean, the only thing stopping Cody is The Rock at this point.
But so Cody gets springboarded to Mania, to main event Mania, uh, just for Roman to beat him. Because the question is, do you think Cody's gonna win?
I feel like he has to win.
Really?
Roman has to lose it at some point, and it has. Uh, we're at the point that he's been champion for over 2 years. He's been through everybody. If, could you really? He has to lose it at WrestleMania. If he doesn't lose it at WrestleMania 39, the only viable option is WrestleMania 40. And do you really see people being invested and interested in Roman for at least one more year?
have a scenario that Cody doesn't win the Royal Rumble, yet wins the Money in the Bank briefcase and cashes it in LA.
That's an option for sure.
I feel like Roman losing straight up is the corner they put themselves in is that him losing straight up is a less and less viable option, more so than him getting caught slipping.
True. Well, I mean,
So
it would have to
I
be
mean,
some cracks in the bloodline at that point. Whether it be Sammy or Solo betraying the bloodline.
yeah, we could. But then I don't know. I think the betrayal part would have to be Heyman. Heyman's got to do something because it can't just be. It just can't be. Oh yeah, they just did. I think Heyman would have to be instrumental in it. To me, it would have to be. If you're gonna blow this bitch up, blow the bitch all the way up, right? Like don't half-ass it,
Full
whole
asset.
ass it. At least in my theory.
Well, we will definitely see how that goes as we get closer to it. This show as a whole, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle.
Thumbs up. I mean, as much as people can say that the TV portion is dull from time to time, you gotta give Triple H credit. He makes these stories hit home at the fucking PLE. I can't knock it.
You come on. I give it a thumbs up as well. Great job. Alright. That will conclude our coverage of WWE Survivor Series and this show as a whole. Obviously, thank you for listening. Join us this Tuesday and Wednesday for the pay-per-view. Taking Troy and Aaron Williams. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, and hashtag Wrestling Sponsored by Red Energy and Kill Marketing. Follow the show at Wrestling with E. We're on Twitter and Instagram. For information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and a whole lot more. And on Instagram at Wrestling with E as well. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Where can we find Kaliko?
At I am Kaliko. And hurry before Twitter blows up.
And obviously follow Scooter Dust at Scooter Dust and on the remix on YouTube. The only live alternative commentary for WWE PLEs, and on the Smoking Dragons Twitch stream as well. For Kaliko Yachts and Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with Entertainment.